In today's video, I'm going to show you the 15 garden trends that are quietly dating your yard. The stuff that made sense in 1995, or 2005, or honestly last decade, and now works against every dollar and every Saturday you put into your landscape. And before anyone gets defensive in the comments, let me take the sting out right now. My yard had 6 of these. 6. Some I installed myself, with my own hands, on purpose, feeling great about it. Some I inherited from the previous owner and defended for years, out of pure laziness. So this is not me judging your yard from a mountain. This is a recovering red mulch owner speaking at the meeting. Here's why this video matters, and it connects to everything we've done on this channel. You can follow every secret from my budget landscaping video. The palette, the drifts, the boulders, the lighting, and one dated trend sitting in the middle of it all will drag the whole picture backward. Dated elements are like a wrong decade haircut in a great outfit. The eye finds them first. Ripping out the wrong thing is worth more than planting the right thing. And most of these rip-outs are free. 15 trends. What each one is, why your eye reads it as old, how hard it actually is to remove. I'll be honest, a couple are real work. And what goes in its place? Let's clean house. You know the game by now, and this video is the final boss version of it. Count them. As we go through all 15, count how many are in your yard right now. And be honest, because I just confessed to 6 on camera, so nobody's hiding anything here. At the end, you're dropping your score in the comments plus the first one you're ripping out. Last video, someone commented a 9 out of 10 on the ugly problems list and became a legend in the replies. The crown is available. 2 ground rules before we start. Rule 1. Dated doesn't mean worthless. Almost everything on this list was a good faith answer to a real problem. Low maintenance, cheap color, tidy edges. The problems were real. The answers just expired. We're going to respect the problem and upgrade the answer, and I'll give you the replacement for every single one. Most of them from videos you've already seen. Rule 2, and stay to the end for this. Not everything old should go. After number 15, I'm giving you the reverse list. The old-fashioned things you should absolutely kings. Because rip-out enthusiasm destroys some genuinely irreplaceable stuff. And I've watched neighbors do it and regretted saying nothing. All right, count honestly. Here we go. Section 1, the ground layer. We start at ground level, because the ground covering is the biggest single surface in your yard, which means a dated choice here dates everything standing on it. Trend 1, dyed red mulch. You knew it was coming, and yes, I owned it. Front beds, proudly, on sale. Here's why red mulch reads dated. It's not a color that exists in nature's ground layer, so it fights every plant sitting in it. Green against red is a Christmas decoration, not a landscape. It also fades unevenly. That faded orange-pink by August is the true color of regret. The mechanism is simple. Mulch is supposed to be the backdrop, and red mulch demands to be the star. Rip out difficulty. Easy. You don't even remove it. You just stop buying it and top over with natural dark brown. And by next season, the red is buried history. Replace with one natural color, whole property, bulk delivery. You know this speech. Trend 2, the mulch volcano. Mulch piled in a cone against a tree trunk, sometimes a foot high, like the tree is emerging from a tiny mountain. This one isn't just dated, it's actively killing the tree. Bark buried in constant moisture rots, roots start circling up into the pile and eventually strangle the trunk. Landscape crews spread this trend, because volcanoes are fast and look finished. Trees have been quietly dying under them for 30 years. The fix costs nothing. Rake the volcano into a flat donut, 2 to 3 inches deep, and pulled back from the trunk so you can see the root flare, that widening where trunk meets ground. Flare visible, tree happy, yard instantly reads more professional, because every arborist and good designer looks for the flare like a secret handshake. Trend 3, white landscape rock over black plastic. The 90s special, blinding white rock beds, black plastic sheeting underneath, and, always, without exception, the plastic peeking through at the edges, like a slip showing. Why it dates. White rock reflects glare, shows every leaf and stain, and reads commercial parking lot island. The plastic underneath suffocates the soil. Real fabric breathes, plastic doesn't. So nothing thrives there, which is why these beds always hold 3 struggling junipers and a lot of white silence. Honest rip-out warning. This is the hardest removal on today's list. Rock is heavy, the plastic has usually shredded into the soil, and you'll be finding black fragments for a season. Do it in stages. Use a wheelbarrow, bribe a friend. But here's the payoff. You're clearing prime real estate for a real bed. Deep curve, dark mulch, mass drifts. The full playbook, On land, the plastic held hostage for decades. Trend 4. Red lava rock. Red rock's crunchier cousin. Lava rock had a genuine moment. Lightweight, never decomposes, exotic in 1988. Why it reads dated now. The color, again, fights every plant, and the texture traps leaves, seeds, and debris in its pores, until the bed becomes a red sponge full of compost growing its own weeds. The exact opposite of the low-maintenance promise. Rip-out difficulty, moderate, lighter than river rock at least. And here's a genuinely useful recycling move before you pay to dump it. Lava rock is excellent drainage material, so it can live invisibly at the bottom of your big planters. Remember the tall planter privacy wall. Doing honest work where nobody sees the color. Replace the bed surface with mulch, or with natural river rock in that gray-brown family that agrees with plants instead of arguing. Quick count check. Where are we? I was at 3 out of 4 in this section alone at my old house. Ground layer's done. Now, the lines around it. Section 2. Edges and borders. Section 2. The borders. And this section stings, because edges are the thing I preach hardest, which means a dated edge is a crisp, well-maintained mistake. Trend 5. Plastic scalloped edging. The wavy plastic border. Sometimes fake terracotta, sometimes fake brick, always somehow both leaning and heaving out of the ground by year 2. Why it dates. The scallop shape itself is a decades-old signature, and plastic pretending to be masonry always loses the pretense at close range. Frost pushes it up, string trimmers chew it, sun fades it chalky. The rip-out is genuinely satisfying. It pulls out like a weed. And here's the twist you already know. The premium replacement is nothing. A clean spade-cut trench edge, the crisp free edge from the maintained illusion secret, is what high-end landscapes use. You remove an object and gain status. Nowhere else in life does that trait exist. Trend 6. Railroad ties and landscape timbers. The chunky dark wood borders and low retaining walls of a certain era. 2 problems. One cosmetic, one real. Cosmetic. The look is stamped with its decade, and the ties rot, shift, and gap into a snaggletooth line. The real one, actual reclaimed railroad ties are soaked in creosote. That's a wood preservative you genuinely don't want leaching next to the vegetable bed, and it's why they're restricted for garden use in a lot of places now. Rip-out difficulty, heavy. Literally. These things weigh a fortune, and long ones may need cutting into sections. Dispose of true creosote ties properly, not in the woods. Replace with, for flat borders, the spade edge again or a single course of real stone. For low retaining, modern segmental wall block, the interlocking kind, which is a legitimately beginner-friendly weekend build and looks current for the next 30 years instead of the last 30. Trend 7. The stone donut around every tree. The tight ring of stacked stone or brick circling each tree trunk like a little crown, usually filled with, say it with me, a mulch volcano. Double count if you've got the combo. I did. Why it dates? Isolated ring trees red as dots scattered across a lawn. The exact opposite of the massing principle. Remember, dots are amateur, shapes are designed, and the tight ring guarantees the volcano, plus a mowing obstacle at every tree. The upgrade is one of my favorite transformations on this list. Dismantle the rings and connect the dots. Cut one large curved bed that sweeps 2 or 3 trees into a single shape. Mulch it flat and properly. Underplant with shade drifts from the free plant pipeline. Hostas divide like they're trying to impress you. 3 ringed trees become one designed grove. The stones get recycled into that river rock drainage dressing, and your mowing route loses 3 obstacles. Everything wins. Section 2 done. Count check. And now we get to the living things, where ripping out gets emotional. Section 3. Plants and pruning. Section 3. The plants themselves. Fair warning. 2 of these will hurt. One of them is basically a public service announcement, and one made me money when I removed it. We'll end on that one. Trend 8. Meatball and gumball shrubs. The foundation row of shrubs, sheared into perfect spheres. Green meatballs lined up under the windows. I want to be careful here, because tight formal shearing has a real place in genuinely formal gardens. But a row of identical balls against a suburban foundation isn't formal design. It's the shear everything habit of a past era. And it reads instantly as the landscaper comes twice a year with a gas trimmer. You also know the health cost from the shrub video. Shearing builds a dense outer shell over a dead hollow center. The exit path, stop shearing and start the inside-out restoration. Dead wood out, 1/3 rule, 2-season patience. And let the shrubs return to their natural forms. Loose, natural shapes with that clean gap off the siding is the current look. And its notes. Less work than Meatball maintenance forever after. This is the rare rip-out where you don't rip anything. You just put down the shears and let the plant fix itself. Trend 9. Soldier rows of annuals. The single-file line of alternating marigolds and petunias marching up the walkway, evenly spaced, one deep. This one dates by geometry. A thin, straight line of dots is the anti-drift. No mass, no shape, just a queue of small plants waiting for something. And it's expensive per impact. You're buying flats every spring for a display the eye barely registers. Same money, redirected, mass those exact annuals into 2 or 3 fat clusters at the entry and along the curve. Odd numbers, tossed pot spacing, the whole drift method, and the identical plant budget suddenly reads from the street. The plants were never the problem, the formation was. Trend 10. English ivy as ground cover. Here's the public service announcement. Ivy was sold for decades as the elegant solve for shady problem areas. Evergreen, spreads on its own, plant it and forget it. Every word true, and that's the problem. It doesn't stop. It swallows beds, climbs, and slowly damages trees and masonry, hides pests, and in a lot of regions it's formally listed as invasive. A yard being visibly eaten by ivy reads as surrendered, not lush. Honest rip-out talk, this is a campaign, not a weekend. Cut, pull, roots, repeat, and check regrowth for a season. On trees, cut the climbing stems at chest height and at the ground, and let the upper vine die in place rather than tearing it off the bark. Replace with shade ground covers that behave. And this is where the free plant pipeline shines, because divided hostas and ferns will happily colonize the reclaimed ground at coffee money prices. Also, never accept ivy from the generous neighbor. We've discussed the vetting rule. This is the rule's origin story. Trend 11. Fake flowers and plastic plants in beds. Silk flowers planted in outdoor beds. Plastic greenery zip-tied where a plant gave up. And look, I made peace with quality faux panels as a layered backdrop in the privacy video, so I'm not a purist. But there's a bright line, and it's this. Faux survives as a supporting actor at a distance, never as the star at arm's length. A silk geranium in a front bed fails in one season of sun, fades gray, collects grime, and fools no one from 3 feet, which is exactly where beds get viewed. The dated signal it sends is worse than an empty bed. It says the yard is being staged, not kept. Rip out difficulty. 30 seconds, and a small ego bruise. Replace with the real version of the same plant, or with confident empty mulch, because you know from Secret 9 that negative space reads richer than filler. Trend 12. The Bradford pear. And here's the one that made me money. If you have a Bradford pear, the lollipop-shaped ornamental with the white spring flowers that smell like, let's say, not flowers. I'm sorry, and I've been you. They were the builder's tree for decades. Fast, cheap, uniform, planted by the 100,000 in every subdivision. 3 problems caught up with them. The branch structure is a genetic flaw. Those tight V-crotches mean the tree essentially pre-orders its own splitting, and they self-destruct in storms right around the age most of them are hitting now. Mine dropped 1/3 of itself on the fence one July night, which is how my rip-out decision got made for me. They're invasive. The wild offspring are covering fields across half the country, and several states have started banning sales outright. And the smell is the smell. Removal of a mature tree is real money, no sugarcoating. A few $100s if it's big. But check your area first, because bounty programs exist where they'll literally give you a free native replacement tree for removing a Bradford, which is how mine became a free serviceberry. Replace with a native flowering tree, serviceberry, redbud, dogwood, region depending. Planted small per the buy small rule. Positioned as your vertical focal point. The pear was 15 dated feet of liability. The replacement is the anchor of the whole yard. Big count check, that's 12. My old house score just in this section was 2. 3 trends left, and they're all in the decoration aisle. Section 4, decor and lighting. Final section, the ornaments. This is the gentlest section, because decoration is personal, so I'll keep the rule honest. I'm not coming for whimsy. I'm coming for clutter wearing whimsy's costume. Trend 13, the solar landing strip. Yes, the 14 dim path lights lining the walkway like a runway. And yes, I owned exactly 14 of them. And yes, this is the 3rd video where I've confessed it, and I'll keep confessing until the last multi-pack is retired. Quick mechanism refresher for anyone new. Cheap solar lights fail one at a time, so the runway becomes a gap-toothed grin by year 2, and pointing weak light down, at pavement, is the exact inverse of how professionals light, which is few, strong, warm, and UP. Rip out, pull them Saturday morning, Done by Saturday Coffee. Replace 3 quality uplights on your best tree in the house corner. Fewer objects, more drama, and the yard stops broadcasting clearance aisle after dark. Trend 14. Ornament overload. Gazing balls, gnome armies, and the wishing well. The mirrored gazing ball on its pedestal. The decorative wishing well that wishes for nothing. The gnome population that started as one gnome, as it always does. Here's the honest mechanism, and it echoes the negative space secret. Any single ornament can be charming. The problem is never the object, it's the density. Expensive reading yards hold one focal object per view, maximum, with breathing room around it doing half the work. Every added ornament divides the eye's attention and subtracts from the whole. By the 5th object, the yard reads as a shelf. The fix is curation, not execution. Walk the yard, pick the single piece you genuinely love, keep it, position it like it matters, at a sightline's end with space around it, and retire the rest. And if the gnome army is truly loved, cluster them in one contained spot, a little scene, rather than scattered as a diaspora. One committed joke reads as personality. 15 scattered ones read as 2003. Cost of this fix, $0 and 1 honest walk. My inherited gazing ball, for the record, went to a neighbor who adores it. It reads great in her yard. One object, space around it. That's the whole science. Trend 15. The bridge to nowhere. The final boss of dated decor. The small, ornamental wooden bridge, arched hopefully over nothing. No stream, no swale. Sometimes not even a dip in the ground. Frequently accompanied by its partner in crime, the dry creek bed that starts nowhere, goes nowhere, and fools no one. Why it dates so hard. A bridge is a promise of water, and a broken promise is worse than no promise. The eye registers the fakery instantly, files the whole yard understaged, and that verdict spreads to everything nearby. Now, the redemption arc, because there is one. A dry creek bed can be genuinely great when it's grunders. Real, meaning it follows an actual drainage path and does actual work. You remember the downspout erosion fix, river rock over a real water route. Extend that honestly and you've got a legitimate dry creek. It reads as intentional because it is functional. That's the difference, function. And if the creek is real and pronounced enough that stepping over it is awkward, fine. Now, and only now, the little bridge has a job. And a bridge with a job is charming. Bridge over nothing. Rip out. One screwdriver. Sell it. They sell, mysteriously. Creek that drains something. Keep, extend, respect. And that's 15. Lock in your final count. But before you comment it, the reverse list I promised. Because rip out momentum is real, and I need to pump the brakes for 2 minutes. The reverse list. Old things you should never rip out. Here's the finishing move, and this time it's restraint. The old stuff you keep. Because I've watched a neighbor clear-cut 40 years of garden in one renovating weekend, and then spend 4 figures trying to buy back what they'd torn out. 4 things get protected, no matter how out of fashion they feel. 1. Mature trees. Any healthy mature tree that isn't a structural hazard, or a Bradford. A big tree is the only thing in your yard money cannot fast forward. The replacement isn't expensive. It's decades. Prune it, limit up for light, underplant it. Never remove it for fashion. 2. Established hedges and mature shrubs, even ugly ones. You know from the shrub video that an overgrown mess is usually 2 seasons of inside-out pruning away from beautiful. And a mature root system is a 20-year head start you cannot purchase at any garden center. Restore first. Removal is the last resort, not the first Saturday. 3 real stone, old fieldstone walls, flagstone paths, genuine brick edging. Weathered natural stone isn't dated. It's the only material that appreciates by aging. Reset the wobbles, weed the joints, keep every rock. The stuff on today's rip list was fake materials and wrong colors. Real stone is the opposite category entirely. 4. Anything with a story. The rose your grandmother planted, the tree from the year a kid was born. No trend cycle outranks that, ever, full stop. Design around it, feature it. The story is the feature, and it's the one element no expensive yard can copy. The test, if you're ever unsure at the curb with a shovel, can money in one season replace this? If yes, rip freely. If no, restore it, feature it, and let the trends wait. So, final scores. Mine, combined across this house and the last one, 6 of the 15. The red mulch, the volcano donut combo at 3 trees, the 14 light landing strip, the inherited gazing ball, and the Bradford pear that removed a third of itself before I finished deciding. Every confession in this video is a real receipt, which is exactly why I know the rip-outs work. I've stood in the before and the after of all 6. And here's the thing to hold on to as you head outside. This was the rare video where most of the fixes cost nothing or nearly nothing, because removing the wrong thing is the cheapest upgrade in landscaping. Rake a volcano flat, free. Pull the plastic scallops, free. Retire 13 gnomes to one good scene, free. Put down the shears, free, forever. The dated yard and the current yard are often the same yard. -6 decisions from another decade. Your turn, and you know the format. Your score out of 15, plus the first rip out on your list. Like 7 of 15, the volcano dies this weekend. I read every single comment. Scores above 10 get a personal reply and my sincere respect. And the most confessed trend in the comments gets its own full rip out and replace video. Filmed start to finish, before photos. Especially for this video, rip out before and afters are the most dramatic ones this channel gets. Tag me or hashtag when the volcano's flat or the pear is down. If this saved your yard from another decade of red mulch, you know where the thumbs up lives. Subscribe for the weekend project every week. And next week we go the other direction. The 2026 trends actually worth adopting early, and which current darlings I think will be on a list like this one in 10 years. I have suspicions. Bring yours. You don't need to add a thing this weekend. You need a count, a shovel, and the nerve to subtract. 15 candidates are waiting. Pick one. Rip it out. Take the photo. I'll see you in the comments, and I'll see you next week.